Months after the end of Operation Metro Surge, lawyers for dozens of ICE protesters who are arrested and charged locally are seeing that their clients are having their cases dismissed. Kent talked to people about this change.
The weather isn't the only thing that feels a lot different outside the Whipple Federal Building these days.
This would be some of us with the We Keep Us Safe shields.
The first time Edward Reyes traveled here from his native Chicago to protest Operation Metro Surge on February 7th, he was among at least 40 people arrested.
We were just standing right here in the protest zone, and after a while, they didn't like how many people there were. They called it an unlawful assembly. And that's when they started grabbing people.
Totally disproportionate to what was happening that day.
Kyle Rubenstein says he too was arrested that day, but neither man says they were among the so-called agitators who allegedly spurred the arrests, which the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office accused of throwing ice chunks and damaging vehicles.
Did you throw anything, or was there anything that you did to provoke? Or
No. As far as I saw, no one really threw anything.
A large swath of people actually got dismissed even before having a hearing.
James Cook and Tricia Polat are attorneys who offer free representation to dozens of ICE protesters arrested throughout Operation Metro Surge, whether they were swept up outside Whipple or for observing ICE operations in the region. And in the last week, they say many of their clients have had charges simply go away.
We're sort of seeing this hesitation to prosecute to the fullest. I think that there's an understanding that our clients are exercising their First Amendment right to free speech and to peacefully assemble, and they're standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
They just completely dropped my case.
Kyle says it brought a mix of relief and anger.
Having to go to court every month, having to drive up from Chicago, like it's its own kind of punishment. Even if they know the charges are not going to stick, they deliberately make it inconvenient.
For others, resolution will take at least one more day.
I'm here to do community service today.
Edward is among about a dozen who agreed to something called deferred entry of judgment.
You don't make a plea and you do a certain amount of community service, right? And then the charge just drops off. So it's like basically like it didn't happen.
I feel like I was already doing community service in a sense. So doing community service again really is not a big issue for me, especially since I'm doing it here, where it all started.
I reached out to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office to learn about these dismissal and deferral decisions, but we haven't heard back yet. Now keep in mind, though, these are misdemeanor charges that might otherwise bring fines, so it's not out of the ordinary that a prosecutor would work to resolve the cases and avoid trial, especially because many of these clients, I'm told, had no previous record. Jana.
That's similar to what was happening on the federal side. I talked to several people during the surge who they just never got charged, and that could be for other reasons, but because they were minor infractions as well.
And they said, to be clear, these people were charged, but there were many, many more who were swept up and they were never charged.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks so much, Kent. Appreciate it.